This week's Parsha, Acharey Kedoshim, is the third possible double Parsha that can occur in a given year. As mentioned by the previous two possible double Parshas, it is not just any two Parshas that can be doubled up and read together. There needs to be a reason for specifically joining two given Parshas together. So what makes our two Parshas, Acharey and Kedoshim, an attractive and compelling candidate to double up? In truth, unlike the previous two double Parshas, there is no simple or seemingly obvious answer to this question. What's more, it's not even clear what is the underlying theme for each of these separate Parshas, as each Parsha by itself contains a motley of topics. Acharey talks about the Yom Kippur Avoda, the prohibition of eating blood, the prohibition of emulating the ways of Egypt or Canaan, and finally, the enumeration of forbidden relations. Parshat Kedoshim has the highest mitzvot density of all the parshas in the Torah, with 51 mitzvot and only 64 psukim. As such, the topics of Kedoshim run the gamut. If there are so many different topics addressed in these two parshas, what then makes these two parshas into an attractive and even compelling candidate to double up? To start with, there is actually an interesting, if not so obvious, halachic connection. Many of the prohibitions specified in the latter part of Kedoshim had already been mentioned in Acharey. Why do they need to be repeated if they were already dealt with? We have a halacha that there can be no punishment without first issuing a warning. As such, we can say that in Acharey, the enumeration of the prohibitions functions as the warning, while in Kedoshim, the reprise of the list of prohibitions is meant to authorize the courts to be able to mete out punishment. So in a sense, Acharey and Kedoshim actually complement each other. While this is a good start, these complementary topics and mitzvot make up only a small portion of the total number of subjects and mitzvot that are mentioned in the two parshas. So why else would we want to double up these two parshas? In a previous video, it was mentioned that our parshas of Acharey and Kedoshim reflect a very important lesson that is exemplified by the phrase in Tehillim, Sur meira va'aseh tov, desist from evil and do good. It is not enough to passively refrain from doing evil, but one must also actively do good. God enjoined us to not follow the ways of the nations, neither the practices of Egypt from where we just came, nor the ways of Canaan to where we are going. This is the Sur meira. Rather, we must aseh tov, follow His laws, and through them we will find life. The details of this aseh tov, of how to follow God's laws and aspire to holiness, is described in full over the last part of Acharey and throughout the second parsha of Kedoshim. So we see too that Sur meira v'aseh tov makes a connection between both parshas. Finally, we can consider the name of the parsha, Acharey Kedoshim. The joke goes, after a person passes away, Acharey, any and all people are looked at as holy, Kedoshim, even the worst of them. Many jokes have a kernel of truth to them, and the kernel of truth for our joke actually has a very important message for us. Acharey, a person does not literally need to die. Rather, there's a demand for a person to sacrifice himself on the altar of hard work. It is only after putting in that hard work, Acharey, that a person is Kedoshim, that a person can grow and can aspire to and attain that holiness. Without first having and undergoing that hard work, the lofty levels would not be possible to reach. Perhaps it is for all these reasons together, the halachic connection between the parshas, the lesson of Sur meira v'aseh tov, and the message learned from the name itself, that the Rabbanim very strongly wanted to read Acharey and Kedoshim together if and when the opportunity presented itself. Shabbat Shalom.